Welcome back to another Bensday with Batgirl Ben. Hello, Ben. How are you today?
Hey, not too bad. How are you doing?
Good. We missed each other last week because I guess we were both very busy doing things, right?
We were. I'm sorry about that, by the way.
Well,
I know you were busy too, but...
Yeah, it wasn't just you, Ben. I had that whole thing where I started college last week, and at first they weren't going to transfer in any of my credits, and they transferred in 36, and then they wound up transferring 84, so it was a good thing, but I was running around trying to get classes, and for the back when I was younger, getting classes when that week of ad drop was going up to a teacher with a piece of paper and having them sign it. With this, it's kind of like Ticketmaster, waiting for your favorite band to come in, and you'll see the seats available in the class, and by the time you hit the enter button, they're gone. It was the most stressful week I've had. Crazy.
The future is here, but congratulations on doing that, by the way. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. Doing it to put another tick on my application so you guys can't say no next time. No, just kidding. I'm actually going back for communication with which definitely will help the podcast here. So in the world of Star Citizen, we have one big question that I have multiple people asking. How soon for the PTU version of the social module?
I can't say when, but it's very soon.
Very soon?
We'll be getting after the first 2,000 testers. It's a point where they look at it every day and say, "Is it time? Is it time? Is it time?" I can't give you any more than that yet, but very soon.
So we don't get any kind of an update like they do for FPS, because that obviously has a lot more things blocking it, right?
Yeah, if for some reason if we have some crazy blocker that keeps us past Chris's, the day Chris announced the Gamescom, then yeah, we'll start updating more regularly. But right now, it's just it's so close.
Okay, so you've been through the I guess we'll call it the social module, and the different places that you get to see. In your opinion, at this point, what's the most impressive piece to you? Don't say the whole thing.
Actually, I haven't even played the social module.
Oh.
I don't have that build here. I'm still Arena Commander 117, so that's all I've done lately. I've seen the videos of the Arcor walk around and everything. It all looks spectacular, but I have not gotten my hands on it yet.
It's been so long since we got to walk around or click around on a Chris Roberts universe. Right now, we don't have that living, breathing thing. We just have hangers, and we don't even have Eric's voice in there anymore, which is kind of weird. Maybe that's supposed to happen. Maybe that was a bug. I don't know. But
no, I think they did replaced everything with professional VO at some point.
Oh, awesome! That's good.
It's all being done in the UK now. So.
That's what I was hoping for. So
wildlife and such. Yeah.
Pretty soon we'll be able to hear Mark Hamill or maybe James Earl Jones talking in our hangar, huh?
Is he still alive?
I don't know. I mean, people think he died because he died on one of the Tom Clancy movies, but he wasn't dead in real life. Yeah. All right, so let's get to a couple of other questions. Premium Shank really wants an answer to: is the cake a lie?
Which cake?
Well, have you ever played Portal?
I have. I appreciate the reference. I just didn't connect it back then.
Okay, so that's what he wanted to know. And then he wants to know, and this is a question, I'm going to combine two. One from Premium Shank, one from Jump Debris. And the questions actually have to do with autopilot. You asked a question about it a couple of weeks ago when we did this, but you didn't actually answer the question. Do you foresee there being a mode where the ships could link autopilots so they could jump at the same time and come out of hyperspace at the same time, or connect together, kind of like they do in the military today, where the autopilots talk to each other so they can fly in formation? Do you foresee something like that happening to get to point A and point B in the future?
I think it's possible. I think there'd probably be some sort of formation flying option where you say, follow that ship, and it does the best job it can. Similar to the match speeds with that ship. You find it something like X-Wing, but it's not a system that's in the game right now, so I don't want to say too much.
So now that we brought it up, and you're one of the designers of things that could be in the game, do you think it's something that you would like?
Yeah, I mean, it really makes sense. It seems like you would have some degree of formation flying, especially for things like convoys. I would have the threshold for breaking it up very, very low. You move your stick in some direction, and you have to reacquire a link.
Right.
I
I think
for looks and convenience. I think never for actual. Hey, you don't want to be the Gallagher ship where you have 2 ships now and they're together.
Yeah, you want to be able to evade separately, especially when missiles or torpedoes are inbound. That would be good. Baddonkey said something that wasn't really answered about the tally modules. What kind of insurance does the tally modules have? Hull or equipment, or is this some kind of new insurance?
It's the same ship insurance as the same system as the ships, basically.
Okay, but just separate, right? It's not.
So what we did was we broke it down. So the original Retaliator we sold back in 2012 has the 2 torpedo bays, and everything has LTI. So then the new Retaliators you can buy the hull that's LTI, you can buy the 5 new modules that are LTI, but you can't buy the torpedo module with LTI. So it's impossible to have the same full Retaliator with LTI.
Right. I think the reason why he's saying this is it's been said in the past that the LTI sold with the ships today is hull insurance, and it only covers the hull. You'll have to buy insurance on the other components themselves. So I think what he was saying is, does this fall under the hull insurance, or is it just LTI on whatever that component / equipment insurance is going to be?
No, it's going to be hull insurance for these larger pods.
Okay.
It'll make more sense with things like the Endeavor, where they're clearly external.
Okay.
It's hull insurance rather than individual components.
All right, because they're not going to be like the shields and the power plants that we'll have to insure separately.
Those will be something different. We're still playing with that system.
All right, good. I understood his question. He just didn't write it out enough for you to get what he was saying. Sorry, Baddonkey. I'm sure you did. Eddard Hawk. Can we set up our insurance to be automatically renewed, assuming enough credits are in our accounts, and prevent lapse of insurance so we won't accidentally lose our ships?
Yeah, we'll be absolutely have that.
Okay. They got to stop asking yes or no questions. They should say, what do you see as the... But that's good. Eddard, thank you for that question. Captain Glume, regarding the Retaliator JumpPod, do the JumpPod seats lower to the ground and move down like the Conni's cargo bay to allow easy access and exit and boarding of passengers? Does the cargo bay also raise and lower to deal with cargo?
They do. So the jump one, the mechanism is a little bit different on the 2, but the idea is that the boarding one is very, very quick, and it's the 2 lines of soldiers that come down. The cargo basically lowers the whole thing.
Okay, so would the jump pod be something kind of like what we saw in that, what was the name of the movie with Tom Cruise, where it was kind of like Groundhog Day? He kept on dying and coming back?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like those ships and that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar to that.
Guys, please feel free to correct me on what the name of the movie was. I watched it. It was fun.
No, it's Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Thank you.
But then they rebranded it as Live, Die, Repeat, and it just confused everybody.
Live, Die, Repeat. Groundhog Day. Not as funny, though. Pappy Boynton wants to know, clarification, please, Ben. Pretty, please. Pretty, please, with sugar on top. Is the Vanguard able to land and take off from the Idris? We don't know yet.
I don't know yet. Because Vanguard's not in the engine yet, so I can't stick it in there and measure it.
Wait. It has to be... Oh, the Vanguard's not in the engine yet.
Idris is in the engine.
Yeah. I just don't know what the beam, the width of the Vanguard was. That would be the easiest way to know.
It feels like it's a little bit too big, but yeah. I can't say for sure.
I think so, because it was supposed to be one of those fighters that took off of... one of the ships that took off of forward bases.
Yeah. Think like a Corsair or something.
Right.
Just
stick with Corsair. That is obviously Pappy Boynton's favorite.
There you go.
Yeah. Yoko Rose, will we be able to be a female pilot in Squadron 42?
That I do not know. I believe so. They are doing character custom. Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I will check with Aaron to make absolutely sure, but I'm pretty sure that yes, you'll have. It's not as much customization as the final PU will have, but that should certainly be in there.
Okay. Now, something you brought up on the Meet the Devs when Mr. James Pugh interviewed you about the co-op campaign in Starlancer, where you had a total campaign that nobody ever saw because it was co-op.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the same thing? Not that no one's seeing, but that the solo campaign inside of Squadron 42 is totally different than the co-op campaign? Is that something that you're looking at?
So we're still dealing with the co-op stuff right now, so we don't have a final plan. Right now, we're kind of looking at doing them as like historical missions. So you play the missions linearly in Squadron 42, and then you can do them together with other people. And then we could use that same system to do, other historical missions in the Star Citizen world. I know there's lots of folks who would like us to do drop-in, drop-out co-op, and it just didn't work with the narrative that we ended up crafting. We'll look at more stuff with that in the future. Also, we should have some more specifics, I would say. CitizenCon.
It might be a stretch goal if we want you guys to do it. Raise another $30 million and go back and reshoot the whole game for co-op, right?
Well, it's not so much it's not a money thing. It's a just logic thing.
Okay. I would love to see that happen, but I understand that now when you're dealing with the type of missions that Chris envisions in this, where you have that branching architecture, it's kind of hard to all of a sudden add a second character into a narrative that he's trying to create, right?
Yeah, especially since this ended up being so much more seamless than I think anybody expected. Earlier on we envisioned, Wing Commander. You go back to your carrier, you talk to your wingman, that's stunning game flow, and then you go out and you fly your combat mission. Now it's all one piece, so it's hard to figure out how a second guy there who, say you start off, you're in your carrier, you walk to your fighter, you take off, you fly a mission, you land somewhere, you have a marine battle, you take off again, you go to some other part of the story. It's hard to figure out how you'd have a second person there the whole time.
Okay.
So it's not technological, it's not money, it's just narrative sense.
Okay. All right. Finally, a message, a question from someone that's not the everyday person. I'm sorry, guys, I love you, but I'd love for there to be a lot more questions coming from outside our tight-knit group. We've got Red Eye Channel. Ben said they won't put an artificial limit as to how many ships can fit in the Idris. And if you can fit it, you can fit it. Does that mean that we can assign landing positions in order to allow landing spots, or will there be absolutely no auto landing spots in the Idris and or in our hangars?
Well, there will be auto landing, but you move your ship around once it's landed. I don't imagine in your face you're like, okay, here's landing spot 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it'll probably be when you auto land, it has these logical points. So you'll have to balance your desire to cram as many Merlins in one place as you want with. You're gonna have to do that work yourself, basically.
Okay. So. Tracy Player, if an unscrupulous cargo hauler decides to take a job hauling, let's say a few crates of military supplies, for example, weapons, armor, what's to prevent said crates from turning up missing and or being distributed to friends of the unscrupulous individual? Are there going to be safeguards built in to protect players from these type of exploits, and if so, what are they?
Well, what's the exploit? People stealing cargo?
I think what he's saying is that, I need you, Ben. I'm going to Ben, and Ben's going to take this cargo, this shipment of 10,000 crates of weapons, and you're going to move them into a system that's next to Orion. But instead, you take the 10,000 crates and give them to your friends. What's going to prevent that?
Well, now I'm a wanted criminal. You get your money back because it was a body contract, and you get the government pays out for the stolen cargo. My reputation takes a hit.
And a bounty goes on your head, right?
The bounty goes on my head. I have this cargo that maybe it's valuable, but it's identified as hot now. And why would anyone trust me again ever? I mean, it's essentially the hope is it's the same system as why don't moving companies do that, or something like that? Shipping companies. If I want to make a name for myself in verse, I'm not going to be stealing stuff from people, because I'll get a bounty on my head. I'll get bad reviews on Space Yelp. I'll lose my citizenship status. The police will come after me. A million kinds of balance there.
Okay, so essentially the balance is law will take over, right? It's just like real life.
Yeah.
You lost your crates, you get paid out insurance, and now this person's a wanted criminal.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wonderful. I love that. I think this will be the last question for today because I want to do a second show if we can later this week. Marcus Perry, is the Gamescom multi-crew demo, he says, in the Gamescom multi-crew demo, was the part of entering through the hull breach and floating towards gravity control a scripted event like the Idris flyby? Now, you remember that part? You were all part of the demo.
Yeah. So what was the question about the Idris? I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I print them out now so we can't have a computer foul, you know? It's the part where they entered through the hull breach, in other words, through the broken turret, and floating towards gravity control a scripted event. In other words, was that scripted or did, turning the gravity on actually work?
There were some scripted animations. I think it's when he grabs the side. That was still scripted. The actual turning gravity off was not.
Okay. We know that some of the mechanics aren't in the game right now, and they will be at some point. Those will not be scripted in the future.
Oh yeah, I think the only two things that were scripted were some of the zero-G animation and then the Idris flyover at the end was on a track view rather than the ship actually having its thrusters.
All right. I have 2 questions and 2 questions only, and they should be quick.
Okay.
Cutlass has the hull breach piece on the bottom of it. Yeah. So would it have been possible for the Cutlass to have gotten closer to the Retaliator in that demo and let the people fall? Okay, so that will happen in the future.
Yeah, you guys decide that yourselves.
Okay, awesome. And second piece is you intrigued a lot of people, and I've gotten a couple of questions about this. Do you still wear your Pilgrim's Cross?
I do. I don't have it on today, but I normally do that. Those little round things at the bottom tend to break and they have to be replaced. I'm waiting for another bunch from Amazon.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I forgot about that. I wear mine occasionally on camera. The question is, you alluded to the fact that we can see possibly pilgrims in this game because they can cross dimensions. Can you elaborate on that, or was that just a hopeful statement by you?
It's nothing we're planning on putting in Star Citizen, but Chris does own the rights to them. Yeah. And the spin-off novels do establish that all the pilgrims went to live in another dimension later on. So.
Okay. So we're not going to see Hobbs in this game too, right? They're crossing dimensions.
No, we can't put Hobbs in the game, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Chris could make a movie about Hobbs, but then he couldn't make a game of it.
All right. Well, that makes sense. All right. Ben, thank you so much for your time this week. What's the big agenda for the week for you?
That's a good question. Now, we're getting ready for the Vanguard sale. I've got reviews on the Vanguard, the Crucible, and the Endeavor coming up. We got the various science pods in the Endeavor are in now, and I have to look at all the different attachment options. Crucible, I think, is at its final shape right now. And I think it'll be our final sign-off preview. Fingers crossed. And then the Reliant variants that Dave Hobbins sent as much art we'd like to go through. Okay, I've started. Okay, go on. What else? Oh, getting ready for DragonCon also, where I will see you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I've started to started to complete my costume. What about you?
I don't have a costume.
It's 2 years in a row.
No, I'm coming as Fat Mark Skeleton.
So you're going to be wearing the gold shirt? All right. So, this year you're going to be happy because the 501st is going to be out there in full force. So you'll be able to see the Stormtrooper parade like you never have before.
I was in the parade the first couple of years they did it.
Yeah?
If anybody wants to go back to the video, I'm wearing a Kilrathi costume.
Kilrathi? Oh, that would be awesome. All right. Ben, I look forward to talking to you later in the week if we can. If not, we'll do it again next Monday. And guys, with that said, we'll all be safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.